At least 1,000 people may have died in Mozambique's cyclone, says the country's President Felipe Nyusi. Visiting flood-hit areas in the country's central port city of Beira and other rural provinces, Nyusi said that although the official death toll still stands at 84, he believes that at least 1,000 people may have died. On Thursday, Cyclone Idai tore through Mozambique and Zimbabwe, killing hundreds of people. The cyclone is the worst ever to have hit the southern African nation in 20 years. Rescuers in Mozambique's flooded city of Beira have evacuated several people after the cyclone devastated 90% of the port city. The rescuers launched dinghies into inundated areas to navigate through reeds and trees, where some people perched on branches to escape the flooding water. Only 84 deaths have been confirmed so far in Mozambique as a result of the cyclone, which has also left a trail of death and destruction across Zimbabwe and Malawi. Flooding in Nebraska has badly damaged up to 500 houses in one county alone. Up to 400 houses and cabins in the area known as Hanson's Lake have been damaged, including many that are completely submerged. Another 100 or so homes have been damaged elsewhere in the county. Stranded residents in Fremont were being flown out by volunteer pilots. Some residents without flood insurance were left trying to figure out how to pick up from damaged homes. Half of the Philippine capital of Manila are in the grips of a water crisis as faucets begin to run dry. Manila Water Services have said that the onset of a drought has contributed to the problem, but it isn't the main culprit. Manila Water and the country's water regulator claim that there is no infrastructure to let the excess amount of water flow into distribution lines. Temporary solutions are also helping restore water supply gradually, but the government concedes new sources of potable water should have been built yesterday. The death toll from multiple shootings in Utrecht has reached 3. At least 5 people have been injured in the attack. The suspect has been arrested. He has been identified as a 37-year-old of Turkish descent named Gökmen Tanis. Trains and trams have stopped running and schools have been asked to keep their doors closed. Emergency services have been brought in as security has been hiked at the seat of Dutch government in Hague, at airports and other key buildings. Dutch police say the shooting may have a terrorist motive. The threat level has been temporarily raised to its highest point in the province of Utrecht. 3 teenagers have been killed in Northern Ireland after a stampede outside a hotel in Cookstown. The hotel was hosting the St. Patrick's Day event for the young people. As per police reports, the incident happened when a large crowd tried to push through a door to get into a disco event. 2 16-year-olds and 1 17-year-old teenager died in the stampede. Police have appealed to witnesses not to share images on social media but to give the material to authorities. France has banned Yellow Vest protests on the Champs-Élysées Avenue in Paris and 2 other cities in France. French Prime Minister Edouard Philippe has announced the ban following riots that left luxury stores ransacked and charred from arson fires. The ban will last for an unspecified period in the areas that have been the most impacted due to the repeated destruction that has occurred since the protest movement began in November last year. French President Emmanuel Macron has described protesters responsible for violence as a horde of hooligans as he praised newly announced measures to contain the demonstrations. Macron made the comments at the National Grand Debate and said that he has refused to give in to violence. French Prime Minister Edouard Philippe has sacked the Paris police chief and has said that they will ban the protests if violence increases. Within 24 hours of the New Zealand mosque attacks, the social media platforms raced to remove the videos of the attack that were being uploaded as fast as 1 video per second. As the footage made its way around the internet, it was re-uploaded repeatedly. Facebook said that it removed 1.5 million videos of the attack in the first 24 hours after the shooting. YouTube did not mention the specific number but has said that they face similar flood of uploads post the attack. Russia mourned the victims of New Zealand attack and would not allow terrorist attacks like that happen in their country. Speaking to community leaders in Sevastopol at a public function, Russian President Putin said that the goal of this act was to blow up the situation in New Zealand. Leaders and organizations around the world expressed disgust and sorrow at the killing of 50 people in shootings at 2 New Zealand mosques. Teachers and school administrators began returning to Brazil school after 1 week of the shooting incident. 2 gunmen had killed 8 people and committed suicide inside the school. Grief-stricken members of the community hugged and cried outside the premises where the teenagers were killed. The rampage has raised tough questions about just how to deal with a wave of violence that helped pave the way for the election of far-right President Jair Bolsonaro. The UK government has been plunged into constitutional chaos after the Speaker blocked Prime Minister May from asking MPs to vote on her Brexit deal for a third time. Speaker John Bercow ruled out another Brexit vote unless the deal has fundamental changes. Within 11 days to go until Britain is due to leave the EU, May was forced to pull her plans for another meaningful vote because John Bercow said he could not ask MPs to pass the same deal. Iran and Syria have demanded the United States to withdraw its troops from Syria. The Damascus government has threatened to defeat Washington's Kurdish allies by force if they did not submit to the return of state authority. The Iranian and Syrian military chiefs have spoken after a meeting in Damascus that also included their Iraqi counterpart. Iraq gave a political boost to President Bashar al-Assad and Tehran by announcing the Syrian border would soon be reopened. Hundreds of mourners have attended the funeral for one of the victims of the Palestinian attack that happened near the settlement of Ariel the previous day. The attack also killed a 47-year-old man who was stabbed. Israeli troops went house to house overnight in search of the assailant, identified as a 19-year-old Palestinian, and closed off a cluster of villages where he is believed to be hiding. UN war crimes investigators have called on Israel to stop its snipers using lethal force against protesters on the border with Gaza. The Commission of Inquiry said that Israel should investigate the shooting of more than 6,000 people, which is far beyond the criminal inquiries it has announced into 11 killings. But Israel has called UN Council as based and boycotted the day-long debate. A new State Department policy has eliminated a coveted 5-year tourist visa for Cubans. US is dealing a heavy blow to entrepreneurs and Cuban members of divided families who use the visas to see relatives in the United States and buy precious supplies for their business on the island. The elimination of the visa cuts a vital link between the US and Cuba by forcing Cubans make a costly and complicated trip to a third country like Mexico or Panama. That's because the US withdrew most of its non-essential diplomatic staff from Havana in September 2017. A court in Chechnya has sentenced a prominent human rights activist to 4 years in a penal settlement after finding him guilty of possessing illegal drugs. Tetiev runs the office of the Memorial Human Rights Center in the southern Russian region, was detained in January last year by police. He and his supporters allege he was framed in order to punish him for his human rights work and to stop Memorial working in Chechnya, where its investigations have regularly irritated the authorities. The French Roman Catholic cardinal, who has been of failing to report sexual abuse allegations, met Pope Francis after saying he planned to resign as Archbishop of Lyon. The Vatican's daily list of papal audiences confirmed that the meeting took place but gave no details. It did not say if the Pope had accepted any resignation. The highest profile cleric caught up in the child sex abuse scandal inside the French church was handed a 6-month suspended prison sentence on March 7th. The Indian Union Territory of Goa has a new Chief Minister and a functional cabinet. A day after Parikar passed away at the age of 63 after battling Pancreatic cancer. Pramod Sawant and his cabinet of 11 ministers took oath in Goa. The 45-year-old Sawant headed to Raj Bhavan at midnight to stake claim. It is a first that the tiniest state will have two deputy chief ministers. Nearly after 10 months, Afghanistan has released one of the 7 Indian nationals who was kidnapped in Baghlan province in May 2018. Ministry of External Affairs said in a statement that they are grateful to the government of Afghanistan for their support in securing the release and repatriation of the Indian national. The 7 Indian were kidnapped by Taliban terrorists on May 6th last year. Russian President Vladimir Putin has visited Crimea to mark the 5th anniversary of Russia's annexation of the region from Ukraine. Russian leader appeared in front of cheering crowds chanting Russia at the concert late after inaugurating 2 new power stations and meeting with Crimean community members. At the concert, Putin congratulated people with the anniversary, saying Russia welcomed Crimeans into its huge multinational family with joy and delight.
Россия! Россия!
Russia's Black Sea Fleet celebrated 5th anniversary of annexing Crimea by welcoming Crimeans on board one of their most celebrated naval vessels. Naval officers conducted tours on board the vessel, which civilians otherwise rarely get to see. Ukraine has said that it wants Crimea back, and most countries still recognize it as Ukrainian territory. But Russia has dismissed the matter. A carpet in the form of a traditional Bosnian rug was made from 25,000 plastic bottle caps and has been displayed in Sarajevo on the occasion of World Recycling Day. Bottle cap carpet was made by 700 citizens of Sarajevo. It covers 30 square meters of surface and was made using a total of 25,000 plastic bottle caps.